Saturday night, I started to do a stream on facts and logic and logical errors and what constitutes honorable argumentation. And I went on my own for about half an hour or so. I managed to get right ruminations on the show, and it's hard just doing a stream on your own. And then I got Pill Eater on, and eventually Kyle came on, and Jim Goad came on. Then things got lively about an hour and a half in when Jim Goad came on the Saturday night stream. So you may have noticed if you watch many of my streams that when when I'm dealing with a lot of moving parts in the stream, that I'm not listening as well as when I'm just doing a one-on-one interview. So, for instance, when I'm doing my typical show with Kevin Michael Grace, I'm looking at the chat, and I know we have about 10 stories to discuss, and then I'm just usually I'm just prompting Kevin and just making room for Kevin to be Kevin. And then on occasion, I have an opinion. On occasion, I want to weigh in. But most of the time on my streams with Kevin Michael Grace, I'm just preparing a space for Kevin to be Kevin. Then when I get more people in the hangout, then I start feeling like an air traffic controller. Okay, let's say I've got Rodney in the hangout and Kyle in the hangout and Bob in the hangout. I have to, and Brundlefly might come in and Babs. And so then I start feeling like an air traffic controller, just kind of like lining up the planes to land. So I'm writing in the hangout link, okay, Rodney, I'm going to you next, and then Babs. And I know that whenever Babs comes on, it's just going to shatter your headphones. There's just going to be this like loud banging around usually, and like there are going to be all sorts of like audio issues when I bring Babs on. So then the more things I have to pay attention to, the less I'm listening. So you'll probably notice that most of the times in my regular evening show, 5 p.m. California time, I'm not listening as well as when I'm just doing like a one-on-one show, such as I did with Claire Core on yesterday. Saturday night, I had Jim Goad on the show, but just prior to Jim Goad coming on, I was just about to go to Kyle. And then Jim Goad showed up in the Hangouts. I'd sent him the link. I had no idea if he'd show up or not. And so I said, okay, I'm going to Kyle next. And then Jim Goad showed up. And I said, sorry, Kyle. Not sure if I even apologized to Kyle. But I'm very hierarchical. So if I'm doing my Hangouts link and President Donald Trump shows up, like everyone else is going to get short shrift. If I'm doing my regular Hangouts link with Right Ruminations and Kyle and Pill Eater and Jim Goad shows up, then Jim Goad gets primary attention. And then Baked Alaska came on. I mean, Baked Alaska he's been like 50 times more successful than me on YouTube. He gets priority. Okay, I'm very hierarchical. If Baked comes on, he gets priority. When the Irony Bros come on, I mean, these people far more successful than me. They get priority. When Nick Fuentes comes on, he gets priority. And so Saturday night show just spun out of control, and I was dealing with a lot of people who'd never graced my show before. The Irony Bros, Beardson, Sean, Nick Fuentes, Baked Alaska had only been on my show, I think, twice before. So I just gave those guys like carte blanche. And unfortunately, it turned into like a 5-on-1 against Jim Goad. And there were a lot of false accusations of criminal behavior launched against Jim, which I did not do my job as a moderator to like put a stop to that. So in the past, when Frame Game Radio comes on, then like I tell everyone else in the hangout, be quiet. This is Frame Game Radio's show now. And I remember Frame Game Radio come on suddenly. So the other 5 people in the hangout told them to be quiet, and poor Babs, he just like unmuted to laugh at one point, and I just ejected him because sometimes I just want to have a one-on-one conversation, and I really love talking to Frame, so I tell everyone else to be quiet. When I do my shows with Kevin, I try to teach everyone else into the hangouts. There's one rule on shows with Kevin Michael Grace, and that is nobody interrupts Kevin. And people will say, oh, but I was just asking him to repeat the name of an author again. No. No circumstances. Don't interrupt Kevin. I don't like people being interrupted, period. So Kyle got interrupted repeatedly last night. I don't like that. I want Kyle to be able to make all these points. He's a fantastic addition to the show. But if Richard Spencer suddenly shows up on my show, I'm going to say, Kyle, be quiet. I just want to talk to Richard Spencer for a while. So I'm very hierarchical. Depending on the circumstance and depending on the person, I may give one particular person in the hangout 100% of my attention, want everybody else to keep quiet. Now, this may last 10 minutes, it may last 2 hours. Normally, when I do a hangout, I have, let's say I typically have 5 people in the hangout. So there's Brundlefly. I probably feel Brundlefly is not just someone who comes on my hangouts, he's someone I consider a friend. And I just feel completely comfortable with Brundlefly. It's like a relief. Let's go to Brundlefly. I'm just always really happy to see Brundlefly. Kevin, it's a different relationship. I just have a lot of respect for Kevin. He's smarter than I am. He has all sorts of insights that I don't have. And so it's not just the kind of the camaraderie thing that I have with Brundlefly. With Kevin, it's more respect. I give Kevin a great deal of respect, and just want to give him room to roam. With pretty much everyone else, if they start repeating themselves, I'm going to mute them, I'm going to interrupt them. Kevin doesn't repeat himself very much, so I've actually never muted Kevin. But pretty much everyone else gets muted if they're repeating themselves. So let's say I have a hangout, I got 5 people in there. I'm thinking in my mind, okay, how can I bring in Claire? How can I bring in Dennis? Neither of them have spoken for 10, 15 minutes. I want to make them feel part of the show. I got Bob in here. What's like some ironic angle to go out with Bob? And then I look in the Hangout link and I see, okay, Kyle's got some points he wants to make. Kevin is not going to suffer fools gladly. So a lot of times I have a lot of people that I bring on my show, but I just don't think they're good fits for my show with Kevin. Like Kevin's show with Kevin is generally a serious show. It's a high IQ show. It's a show where I simply want to give Kevin room to be Kevin. And so that's how I operate there. And it just feels very much, once I start having a number of people in the hangout, it feels very much like an air traffic controller. I've seen air traffic controllers, they're like lining up planes to land. And that's what I feel like my job is as a host. I'm just like lining up planes, like guests to land onto the stream to start speaking. I'm thinking about how well different people will interact with each other. Because every time you bring someone to a hangout, it has the potential to explode the hangout, to completely disrupt a direction. It makes discussion of certain things impossible. It prompts discussion of other things. So there's always this social dynamic, how well people kind of get along with each other. These people implacable enemies. If I bring this person on, will this other person leave? So it's tiring. The more of these moving parts that I'm trying to juggle, then the less I can pay attention to the points people are saying. So in these situations, I'm more just trying to serve as a host and to create space for people to to come in and to share their views. When I don't have as many moving parts, then I can focus in more on what's being said. And if I have points that I really want to make, then I have less available cognitive power to be a host, and I become more selfish. It's like, okay, I need to make this point, and I need to make this point, and I need to make this point, and I need to develop 3 subsets of this point. And so it was fun. I remember when I first started doing these live streams on YouTube, it was with Vivian Veritas. And even though I was technically the host, she was kind of playing a role similar to what I play with Kevin Michael Grace. She would ask me questions. And so that would stimulate me to think and to develop my ideas and to sharpen my ideas. And I felt like she was giving me space to unleash the ideas that I wanted to develop. So that's fun. It seems like normally these days I'm the host, so I don't have as much time. I just don't have as much spare cognitive power to develop my own ideas when I'm hosting this wide, open, free-flowing discussion. I don't have as much time to develop my ideas because I'm just so set on being a host, on juggling all these different parts of the show. Also, there's a lot of great content in the chat. So I like to keep an eye on the chat so other people don't have to. I don't want Kevin being bothered by the chat. I don't want it disrupting his... thanks, Thomas. I don't want it disrupting his chain of thought. Like, Kevin's digressions are awesome. Like, he can go off for 10 minutes on his 4 weeks in London in 1976, and it's fascinating, so I don't want that interrupted. And I also don't really want to be arguing a lot with my day in, day out co-host. So Kevin and I go at it on occasion, maybe once every 2 weeks. We'll have some like strong, passionate disagreement. But in general, I don't want to be fighting with my co-host. I want like a smooth, amiable, professional relationship. If there are points that I want to make, I'll do them solo, or I'll do them in a different stream. Like Kevin and I, it feels like, we're 2 guys in a foxhole, okay, when we're doing a show. So we don't want to be training fire on each other. We'll clash swords once in a while on some points, but overall we're in a foxhole. You'll notice neither one of us criticizes the other. Okay, I've done shows with other people, and then I see they're like blasting me on the internet, and okay, that's one thing when you're an acquaintance, one thing when we have no relationship, one thing when I've been a guest once on your show, or you've been a guest once on my show. But once we start doing regular shows together and you're blasting me on the internet, that's usually not going to work, right? If we're doing regular shows together, you want just a sense of comfort and ease with the people you bring on, or at least I do. I'm 52 years of age. Perhaps I have less tolerance for drama and tension in relationships. I don't really want a lot of tension in my YouTube relationships. So I really just bring on people that I don't lose sleep over. So, I mean, Kevin is a consummate professional. He's been working in the field of journalism for 30 plus years, and so it's an absolute pleasure working with him. Then a lot of other people are just absolutely volatile. You just never know what they're going to say or do. And of course, everything they do on the internet ends up reflecting on you. So if they behave badly in the comment section of some other YouTube channel, that still reflects on me because I've had them regularly on my show. So I don't mind commenting on feuds, and I don't mind weighing in even with my opinion on feuds, and I certainly don't mind joking about feuds. It's really important to me to stay out of feuds. Like, I'm not here to feud with Richard Spencer or Mike Enoch or or anybody. Like, I don't want to get emotionally involved. I don't want to get emotionally triggered, because then I don't make good decisions, and I lose sleep, and I feel like my back and neck tightening up. I have more tension. It puts more strain on my voice. My thinking kind of narrows down. I start thinking, oh, how can I prove something to this person, or how can I prove them wrong? I just want like smooth kind of gliding through YouTube, gliding through life. I want to do streams that when I run into people in real life who watch my streams, that I've done everything humanly possible to make this a smooth in real life conversation, a smooth in real life connection. And so I want to avoid getting into the death threats and the doxing and the just the gratuitous hatred. And so I don't bring everybody onto my stream, and I don't just throw in any combination. So some combinations are volatile, and I'll judge, okay, this could be funny, but at a certain level of volatility, it's no longer funny. Okay, take care, guys.